Greetings and welcome to the Dr. J Vlog series. It is Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, and on Thursdays we talk about knowledge and science. And so this week we've been talking about geniuses, and I'm just going to briefly discuss three of my favorite scientific geniuses. Albert Einstein ranks at the top of the list. He was born on March 14th, 1879, lived to age 76, and died on April 18th, 1955. Obviously one of the most influential physicists of the 20th century of all time, revolutionizing physics with his theory of relativity, his famous E equals mc squared equation, which I'll get to again in a moment. But this basically reshaped our understanding of energy and matter. And in general, Einstein's ideas and his published work really revolutionized our understanding of space and time and gravity, and fundamentally changed the landscape of modern physics. What I found most remarkable, though, about Einstein was at the tender age of 26, he published 4 groundbreaking papers in 1 year, in 1905, known as the Annus Mirabilis papers. The first was on the photoelectric effect. So the paper explained this effect, proposing that light consists of discrete energy packets known as quanta, light quanta. And so this work was crucial then for the development of quantum theory and ultimately earned Einstein his one and only Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921, actually awarded in 1922. A second paper, he provided, it was a paper on Brownian motion, where he provided a theoretical explanation for the random movement of microscopic particles suspended in a fluid. And this work then provided strong evidence for the existence of atoms and molecules. His third paper was on the special theory of relativity, revolutionizing the understanding of space and time. And it posited that the speed of light was constant for all observers, leading to a new framework for physics. And then finally, his fourth paper was the mass energy equivalence paper, the E equals mc squared paper. I actually downloaded it and read it. It's a very short paper, but it's mathematically somewhat complex, at least for my simple mind. So anyway, he published this paper. It revealed the relationship between mass and energy and provided the mathematical derivation thereof. And that's the part that I was a little bit confused on with my more limited mathematics ability. Anyway, beyond his scientific contributions, Einstein was a prominent voice for peace and civil rights and academic freedom. Quite the personality. Another scientific genius that I deeply admire would be Marie Curie. She was born Maria Sklodowska on November 7th, 1867 at Warsaw, Poland. She died on July 4th, 1934 at the age of 66. So in 1891, Maria moved to Paris and she changed her name to Marie. She studied at the Sorbonne, where she attended lectures by famous physicists. She faced financial hardship, however, and she studied and worked late into the night, make ends meet. And in 1893, she then finally earned her degree in physical sciences and began working in a research laboratory. In the spring of 1894, she met her future husband, Pierre Curie, and they married the following year. And so, working with minerals, Marie became interested in pitchblende. The mineral was more radioactive than pure uranium, and she believed that an undiscovered element was the source of the activity. So Pierre joined Marie, and they discovered polonium and radium. Marie isolated pure radium in metallic form with the help of the chemist André-Louis Debian, and in 1903, Marie eventually received her doctorate, and along with Pierre and Henri Becquerel, the Nobel Prize in Physics for their work on radioactivity. After Pierre's sudden death in 1906, Marie continued their scientific work, and she became the first woman to then teach at the Sorbonne. And in 1911, she won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for isolating pure radium. And then, interesting factoid, during World War I, Marie and her daughter Irene used X-radiography to help the war effort. And so the Radium Institute became a leading center for nuclear physics and chemistry. And so Marie Curie's research focused on the chemistry then of radioactive substances and their medical uses. So really, as a pioneering physicist and chemist, Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the only person then to have won Nobel Prizes in two separate scientific disciplines. But it's especially her research then on radioactivity, a term that she coined, by the way, that had the farthest-reaching effects in terms of physics and chemistry and medicine. And so Curie's groundbreaking work essentially laid the foundation then for cancer treatments and expanded our scientific understanding of the atomic structure. And then finally, I'll just mention briefly Charles Darwin, whom you all know, I'm sure. He was born on the same day, though, as Abraham Lincoln, back on February 12th, 1809. He outlived Lincoln, obviously, but he ended up dying then on April 19th, 1882, at the age of 73. What's interesting about Darwin, too, is that he didn't follow in his father's footsteps. He ended up dropping out of med school. Apparently, he didn't like the sight of blood and found the lectures boring. And so he had to decide what he was going to do with the rest of his life, and ended up faithfully, of course, signing on to serve as the naturalist on a worldwide expedition. So his incredible 5-year journey around the world on the HMS Beagle ended in 1836 and provided him then with invaluable information in terms of the different kinds of evidence that he'd gathered and carefully documented, etc. And this, of course, led him to eventually develop, or contributed to the development of his theory of evolution and natural selection. But he was quite concerned about the public's and possibly ecclesiastical acceptance of his deeply radical idea. And so he sat on it, so to speak. And he didn't present his theory on evolution until 1858, when he made a joint announcement with the British naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace, who was about to go public with a concept very similar to that of Darwin's. And then it was in the next year, in 1859, that Darwin published his seminal work, which is most famous. The formal title really is actually On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. So how important was Darwin's work? Well, it essentially transformed biology and the way we view life and life on Earth especially. And so Darwin's theory helped reshape our understanding of biological diversity and remains fundamental to modern evolutionary theory, biology, and later then, for that matter, for genetics, and the great synthesis in the 20th century. So in any event, you can't say enough about Darwin in that regard and his contributions to our understanding, his kind of revolutionary thinking and our understanding. So I think those three scientists together combined, if you think about Einstein and Madame Curie and Darwin, really together ushered in and transformed our understanding, in terms of the late 19th century and then obviously into the 20th century, in terms of modern physics and chemistry and biology. So those are three of the scientific, or three of the geniuses that I most admire. All right, until next time, may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives, nurture love in your hearts, and dole out hugs in abundance. We will see you tomorrow.